Marvel kills Spider-Man again, indirectly. And it's the Ultimate Universe or an alternate Ultimate Universe. It's been a while since I did a comic review on this channel. Honestly, I haven't really been keeping up with most modern comics, and there weren't any that I felt were interesting enough to cover. But Jonathan Hickman and Bryan Hitch are bringing back the Ultimate Universe, and it's starting with the 4-issue series Ultimate Invasion, which is the recreation of the Ultimate Universe, but with a twist. So, if you haven't read Marvel Comics before or have not read the Ultimate Universe, there are some concepts that I'll be discussing throughout the video. First off, the Ultimate Universe was a Marvel publishing line where all the stories took place outside of the main Marvel Universe continuity of Earth 616. And the idea was, let's tell stories where we look at the Marvel Universe as if the characters that debuted in the 60s debuted in the early 2000s. This would obviously modernize the origins of a lot of characters. The stories were more grounded, more tuned into the political climate of that time in terms of talking about terrorism and military intervention and stuff like that. So that went on for about 15 years and then was ended by Jonathan Hickman in his 2015 story Secret Wars, which saw the end of the Marvel multiverse. Of course, Earth 616 was reborn after that, and so was pretty much every other world. At the time, only a handful of Ultimate Universe characters were brought over to the main Marvel Universe, but the only two to last were the Maker, who is an evil version of Mr. Fantastic, and Miles Morales' Spider-Man. Obviously, there's been a lot of changes in Marvel since 2015, but we really don't need to cover all that, except for the fact that all of the mutants currently live on an island called Krakoa, and they have these organic gates that transport people off the island that only they can use, and that will come up again. Now, the prologue to issue 1 of Ultimate Invasion is mainly fluff. I think they could have just started the comic with the Maker having escape damage control instead of seeing him turn some people into soup, which forms into a replica of his body. I mean, the Maker ties with 616 Reed for being the smartest man in the world. I think we could have just assumed that he easily escaped custody. The main story starts with 616 Reed Richards and T'Challa investigating the destruction of what I assume is somewhere in New York because it's Marvel. This takes place a few weeks after the Maker's escape, and when Reed learns that it was a damage control building that was destroyed, he realizes who it was that was kept there and freaks out. Or at least Reed Richards' version of freaking out. So he summons the Illuminati, which is really cool because we haven't seen the Illuminati, I don't think, since Secret Wars, and it's even the original lineup, except for the addition of T'Challa, who didn't join until the incursions. This group is of course made up of Reed Richards of the Fantastic Four, Tony Stark Iron Man, Black Bolt the King of the Inhumans, Namor the King of Atlantis, T'Challa the Black Panther, Doctor Strange the Sorcerer Supreme, and of course Charles Xavier, the leader of the X-Men. So basically, the Illuminati is a group made up of the leaders of the superhuman community who originally got together with the intent of sharing information that would help them deal with planetary threats. Obviously, they see the Maker as that kind of threat, especially after it's revealed that the Maker actually wanted them to know that he was planning something because he stole something from each of them. That being vibranium from Wakanda, an energy source from Arctolan, the home of the Inhumans, a bridge which allows someone to see and travel to alternate universes, which is actually a concept that Jonathan Hickman created back in Dark Reign Fantastic Four, a mutant gateway, which I mentioned earlier, and it's something that the Maker shouldn't have been able to steal, an immunity lance from Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum, and a dilution shield from Atlantis. Now, I don't know what either of those last two things do, or why the Maker would need them. So where I originally thought that he stole some of that stuff just to piss off the Illuminati, he actually does seem to use all the parts to build a machine, but the question is why? We know from the solicitations that he intends to recreate the Ultimate Universe, or at least create a simulacrum to that universe that he can control, but he already has Reed Richards' bridge, which should take him to an alternate universe, so why build this machine? But as soon as he turned on the machine, and he did so right out in the open, the Illuminati descend upon him to stop him, but despite being some of the smartest and or most powerful people in the world, they can't seem to get through his force field, so he just leaves. They have no idea where he went, but we the audience know that he goes to Earth 6160, which is just rearranging Earth 1610, I believe. And in this universe, a young Peter Parker and Liz Allen are attending a demonstration of an isotope genome accelerator. And this is a scene similar to Spider Man's original origin in Amazing Fantasy number 15, as well as Ultimate Spider Man number 1, with the way that the spider is altered being more modernized each time. The first one is a radioactive spider. The Ultimate Universe used a genetically altered spider, and this spider is also genetically altered, but it's an effect of more modern technology than what was available in the early 2000s. And just as this spider is about to bite Peter, it's caught by the Maker. So technically, Spider Man didn't actually die in this universe. Rather, the Maker prevented his origin story so that this world won't have a Spider Man to begin with. And I almost forgot to mention that before he built his machine, the Maker went to the home of Miles Morales and asked him if he wanted to go with him. Miles declined, and their interaction was strange because Miles didn't really treat him like a villain, as if he didn't remember who the Maker was. Now, it's been a year or two since I really read Marvel Comics, but I'm pretty sure that Miles would know who the Maker is. Also, in the solicit synopsis for Ultimate Invasion, Miles is said to be at the center of this story. Like I mentioned, he is one of 2 inhabitants that survive from the Ultimate Universe, the other one being the Maker, so it kind of makes sense, but it didn't seem like the Maker needed him. But I'm guessing that the Illuminati are going to use Miles' genetic code, similar to how Spider-Bite uses the genetic code of different Spider-Men in the film Across the Spider-Verse, in order to find the Maker in the multiverse. Now, if you're like me, you're probably wondering why the new world that the Maker went to is Earth 6160 and not 1610. Well, Al Ewing wrote an Ultimate story a few years ago, and towards the end of it, it was revealed that the Ultimate Universe still exists and is alive and well. But then later on in Venom, the Ultimate Universe was in ruins. So I'm not really sure what the Maker's plans are. If the ruined Ultimate Universe was free for him to conquer, why would he create a new universe unless he wanted to blend elements from Earth 616 and Earth 1610? Judging by the fact that he averted the origin story of Peter Parker, it seems like he also intends to create a world that he can control by preventing its superheroes from existing in the first place. But that creates a whole host of new questions. Like, did this world start from the Big Bang, having billions of years passed up to this moment? Or did the Maker create this universe as it is now? And what I mean is, would he have gone back and prevented the creation of a character like Captain America? Also, are we going to see a crossover of Earth 6160 and Earth 1610? Because we know from the solicited covers that the Ultimates, or at least a version of the Ultimates, are going to make an appearance. I find this whole thing a really interesting concept. However, I think that it's interesting in the same way that House of X and Powers of 10 was really interesting before Hickman's god-awful X-Men run. I'm not going to go too much into my opinion on this Ultimate Universe reboot, but it's definitely not something that I would have asked for. I'm not sure that anyone was asking for it. If the intention is to reflect the modern world of 2023 in the same way that the Ultimate Universe reflected the early 2000s, I'm not sure that that story would work the same. Like, I don't think the concept of modernizing the heroes again only 20 years later would serve the same function. But I am curious to see what happens with Ultimate Invasion at least. This is something that was teased all the way back at the end of, I believe it was Donny Cates' run on Venom. So let me know what you think about this story in the comments, especially your theories. Like, what becomes of Peter Parker in that universe now? And what becomes of all the other people who would have become heroes? If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit that like and subscribe button, as well as hitting that notification bell so you never miss out on a new video. Thanks for watching.